Say hi, Rich.
Hi, Rich.
Oh, that's not very nice. Well, how'd it drive? How's it handle? How are the brakes?
What brakes?
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a lifelong friend of mine since we were 7 years old. Introducing the GBG. Richard. Middle name Lee. If his last name was Richard Lee, he would be Richard Lee. Richard Lee. Come on. There we go. Come on, baby. Ah. Well, it's been a minute since this neglected square body tried to kick my rear end a few weeks ago. And when I edited that first video, part 1, it's in my playlist if you haven't seen it, right at the end you'll notice that I had spark on the spark plug. Then I caught this horrendous cold for about 5 days. Had to get the truck off the lady's property. We got it here to my house. Then I had to go to Tennessee to celebrate my wedding anniversary, so I didn't get even more stink eye from the wife. But the whole time I was gone, except for one night, all I could think about was, is that truck gonna start? Is it gonna run? And I don't move as fast as I used to. I mean, you know, I'm not a triathlete, as you can tell. So here we are back again today, and I'm not gonna go inside until this thing runs or explodes or does something. First things first on a lifted truck, it's either a place to stand or a place to fall. Oh. I really hate lift kits. Just a quick little review here for you guys. Man, batteries are heavy. By the way, this is one of my group size 75 batteries with dual terminals. And this is my terminal that operates my contactor on the fender well, so I can start this thing. Get this thing back up. There's some kind of critter under here, I think. I absolutely despise side post batteries. I think I hear the key buzzer. Got my vice grips, because of course I don't know exactly where my regular pliers are. It's a good idea when you're dealing with this and a wrong tool to put your hand over the negative side so you don't pull up the battery in your face. I'm not worried about my face as much as I'm worried about the price of batteries. I think this thing's like 150 bucks, something like that. Now let's check the oil. Now I know why I didn't check the oil, because I can't hardly reach the dipstick. Oh, there's oil in it. Maybe I did check the oil. Is there such thing as a lowered 4x4 truck? There might be pretty soon. You know, the bruises on my stomach just healed up from when I worked on this a couple of weeks ago. Boy, that turns slow. What happened? Oh. Okay, I've always wanted to try this. My EV, the only EV I'll probably ever have in my life, has 4 12-volt batteries, which cost a fortune, by the way, and they're brand new. So I figured I would go ahead and try to jump off some junker. So I isolated one battery, hooked some jumper cables to it, put it to that battery, and I put the switch to tow. And I think that disconnects all the computers and stuff in case I blow this thing up and got to do a will it run on a golf cart. I think We got, I think I got dirty battery cable ends is the problem. Let me go ahead and struggle to find a wire brush and clean those up. I'm straight back from the auto parts store for the millionth time. And by the way, this is the best way in the world to cut off these old side post terminals. With one of these little light duty Makita Sawzalls. Come on, you're brand new. Why won't you go together? This is like the smallest battery terminal I've ever seen in my life. Did I get the wrong thing? Totally pathetic. We're gonna just go with it. Push this back around this way so it'll melt on the radiator. I never mentioned how much I hate lifted trucks. What's the wonder I can't see anything? I got my stinking sunglasses on. Somebody still has the Old Spice ringtone, I hear. But I'm actually getting somewhere now. There we go. Holy moly. Well, I've already had to bring an absolute arsenal of tools just to put battery terminals on. Like the Larry Nader would say, it'll be alright. Okay. Oh, I know what I dropped. The brand new bolt for the battery terminal. Well, that sucks. Yeah, I'll probably never find that. That's going to conclude this episode of Grease Belly Garage. Tune in next week to see me pump up a tire. Let's see what happens now. Absolutely zero improvement. I don't really know why I'm wasting my time with these jumper cables hooked up to my Ram. I know I'm going to end up over there pulling that big fat extra battery cable out of that Geo Prism or whatever it is. I guess I'm just determined or really lazy, one of the two. Let's see what it does now. Well, it's turning a little bit better. Let me put a little starting fluid in it and just see what happens. I might get lucky. My tripod's a piece of junk, so bear with me, guys. All right. Aha! Let's just jam some gas down in there now. We got fire, fellas. Can't believe it. Yeah, that ought to make her run for a minute. It does not like that oil gas stuff. Maybe I need to choke it. There we go. That might stay there for a couple of seconds anyway. Oh boy. That ought to leave a mushroom cloud. I think I'm gonna end up doing that cable anyway. I found some of this four cycle all season fuel that I had bought a while back and forgot about when it was in my truck. I also got a really long bolt out of a piece of furniture I took apart that I'm going to jam underneath the choke flap if I can get it up high enough. So we'll just let this gas dribble down in there. This carburetor is probably absolutely destroyed. Something is not happy. negative cable's pretty warm. I think I'll get a different negative cable and just change that stupid thing out. This is a battery cable off of my Geo. I'll let this one dangle somewhere, probably cause a short. And this down. When I was a kid, I used to kind of, I don't know, do something with my tongue when I would work. I'd be like this. So if you ever see me doing that, that means I'm really deep into concentration. I look like a natural at this kind of. At the end, you start going a little faster and it does a better job. It's got to be better than what it was. Oh yeah, this is some kind of heavy-duty cable. It's like for a Peterbilt or something, you know? As I've gotten older, I've had to start spray painting these cables black or wrapping them with electrical tape that's black or something. Because I could come out here tomorrow and put the red one right on the positive. All right. Oh no. You just never get used to hooking up a red cable to the negative, no matter what you're doing. These sunglasses, oh no. Dang it. Those things are up to $14.99 at 7-Eleven now. Be careful with them. Probably doesn't need to be tightened up, but it makes me feel better about myself. I think it spins better, but it's very gallopy. We'll jam some more of that in here. This thing's gonna fight me to the end. Oh yeah, some wicked valve train noise. It likes to be choked just the right amount. Probably have to name this one Tiffany. Oh, you guys know it's Tiffany. Contact. All right, one more time. Oh, come on. I can't move my T-Rex arms fast enough to grab any kind of fuel. Oh, doggone it. By the way, first time this thing has ran since 1999, verified. It don't like to run either. I think I'll come out here tomorrow with a fresh battery and yank this carburetor off. If I can get it running and idling somehow, I'll end up trying to drive it with no brakes, maybe, just in my yard. I'm not going to endanger anybody's life. Oh. Well, I guess I better turn the camera off, huh? I went ahead and yanked this carburetor off that truck today, and this thing is an absolute total disaster. I just went ahead and took it off. I was just going to clean it up, but this thing is missing all kinds of parts, and things are bent, and the little rod that goes on the secondaries is gone, so there's no way to open them on the top of the carburetor. This was just laying inside the carburetor somewhere, but it had one on it too, so I don't know. Somebody tried to rebuild this thing before, and this thing's pretty much just going to go in the parts bin. Amazingly, it wasn't all that dirty though. I don't know how that happened. Got some tar guitarish stuff in weird places, but there's just no hope for this thing. I don't even know if it's a good core anymore. So what I have here instead is the completely refurbished, as of I think around 2002 or so. I had this completely rebuilt and refurbished for my 71 GMC truck. I think it might be okay just to bolt this on for a few minutes and see if that truck will run. I'm not quite convinced I should do that yet. And this truck that I'm working on currently is probably going to wind up being a complete waste of time, I think. So I may not sacrifice this one. After asking my grandfather, who's no longer with us, I asked him, would you mind if I use this carburetor on this old junker truck? And he said, yeah, man, that thing's been sitting around for 20 years. As long as you put ethanol-free gas through it, it'll be fine. So here we are. Now, I did lose one of the carburetor mounting bolts down in the grass underneath. I'm gonna have to go down there and fish that out. And I do not have a new base gasket. But fortunately, I think these base gaskets are made out of pre-famulated amylite. So I'll just wipe this off and stick it back on there. Why am I so determined to make this thing run? Well, I need to know exactly what's wrong with this truck. You know, the transmission may not be good. You know, I just don't know. I don't know what its fate's going to be. So for a little bit of effort, and this carburetor might come in handy for other projects too. I need to probably start using it. I've got another small block Chevy thing coming up that I'm probably going to need that on anyway. Okay, the gasket's on. It's been wiped off. The carburetor's all set up. And what I did is on the back where the brake booster fitting is on this carburetor, I just took that mastic tape, I call it, off of the old brake booster hose and stuck it over that so we don't have a massive vacuum leak. And I took the cap off of this vacuum port, which should be ported, and moved it over here. That one's been capped off. That would have gone to the PCV valve. We're not going to worry with that either. So we'll have a ported one for the vacuum advance on the distributor so I can rev it up. And for the linkage issue, I got a linkage adapter here. That carburetor mounting bolt, I saw it fall down there by the wheel. Looked right at it, and it still took me like 20 minutes to find the thing in the grass. How does that happen? One little tech tip here. I never see this talked about online, but you got 4 carb mounting bolts on pretty much any carburetor. And I actually witnessed a guy crank these things down so tight one time that it warped the carburetor. Pretty bad, actually. So when I put these in now, I crisscross them. I start with this one and get it to where it's just snug and stop. And I go to the back, then to this front one, snug until it stops, and into the back, and a crisscross. It does not have to be Hercules tight. That's what causes these things to warp and causes problems in the future. Carburetor installed. Got the vacuum advance hose hooked up. It's okay to use zip ties on things as long as you cut the tail off, because that makes it look like a real nice, neat job. These types of carburetors originally had a thermal spring on the side that activated the choke. So I'm gonna have to do some manual chokeage here, I think, like that. But this at least doesn't have all the broken linkages and stuff, so I can do something with it. It may also open up on vacuum too. I don't remember exactly how this carburetor works. I'm not a carburetor expert by any stretch of the imagination. I am a zip tie expert though. Still got that junky tripod. I know what you guys are probably thinking. You're probably thinking that the timing's off on this thing, and that might be part of the problem. And it might be. But I can't really even deal with that until I get it running at least, you know, so-so. Could have a collapsed lifter, or a stuck valve, or a broken rocker, or a pulled out stud, or one of those types of problems. I tend to be a very optimistic person about things like this. And if I could just get it running good enough to see how level it runs, see if that noise goes away. If I could just thread a side post battery screw Get in there. You know what I'll do? I'll just cheat and use that longer screw. These little stubby ones suck. Put the red one on the negative. It still goes against my grain to do that. Can I bring my gas? Oh no, I forgot my gas. Speaking of gas, when I started editing YouTube videos, I kind of found out really quick you gotta pay attention to what you eat, or your editing is going to be a little more time consuming. When I know I'm filming, I don't eat a lot of cruciferous vegetables or Taco Bell. Saves me a little time in the cutting room floor. Not only did my electric pressure washer explode today, which that was my last electric pressure washer I'll ever own, I went and bought a new gas-powered one, and I picked up some of this, I don't know, what is this stuff, $26 a gallon or something, fuel. I'm gonna try to get this thing lit off with this stuff this time. However, it's got a child-proof cap. Holy moly, really? There it goes. The can was all swole up. So we're gonna pour some of this down the vent tube and down the pie hole. We'll fill up the vent tube like that. Now it's choked, I don't have to worry with my checkboard knife. And then we'll see what happens. Just like right there. I may have a little too much choke on it. There we go. Now we're getting somewhere. I think we've got a oiling problem with these lifters. The timing doesn't sound that far off to me. It still could be a rocker arm slapping on something, but I got an oil change for this. I'm not gonna do that immediately. I think what I'm gonna do is hook up my boat tank and my electric pump and see if this thing will just idle for a little bit and kind of calm down. We'll idle it for like 5 minutes maybe. Just a 305. I'm just trying to get it running enough to assess the condition of the rest of the drivetrain. So let me go get all the boat tank and bust all that out. Get the boat tank in the bed, primer bulb. A lot of people call these clickety clack pumps or something on YouTube. I call them Got it double filtered, one going into the pump and one before my carburetor. So I'm going to apply some juice to the pump and see if that noise goes away. And if it does, well, if it doesn't or it does, I probably will change the oil in this so I can run it a little bit longer and test the transmission. Or maybe not. It just depends. By the way, I also went out and got one of these Gorilla platforms to stand on. Much better. This particular one is conservatively rated at 300 pounds. Don't base your purchase judgment on what I'm saying. But I know it's conservative, I'll just put it to you that way. My tripod is such a piece of junk. On with the ignition switch. We'll hook up the fuel pump first. See if we got any leaks. Well, doggone it. Alright, I hear it filling the carburetor. And of course I see a fuel leak. A little backfiring. definitely got some kind of valve train issue going on here. I'm still not in the mood to take these valve covers off. I think I will open up this choke a little bit. I'll just leave it sticking up like that. Don't want to be unchoked yet. Okay, we got other problems. I'll turn the fuel pump off for a minute. I think you can't win them all, guys. Oh yeah. We got problems. Stuck valve or a broken something. Something's not right. So I guess in the next episode, I'll take the valve covers off and just take a look. This thing may never run again. Doesn't sound too good. It did get to run for just a little bit. That's always good. Got any ideas on what you guys think? Feel free to drop them down in the comments section. I don't know if I've ever mentioned it before, but this truck was vandalized at some point in its life shortly before it was parked, and you can kind of see some evidence of that with this. I think that's supposed to be some naughty language there. Very poorly written naughty language. You know, this thing had a disconnected transmission linkage. It had power booster was disconnected. Things were unplugged on the engine. You know, I think there was a lot of shoddy work done to this truck in the past as well, but it almost looked to me like somebody started to pull the engine and transmission out of this thing for some reason. So the reason I'm so determined to find out if everything works in here, you know, I just want to know if the transmission will go into gear and that kind of thing, check the fluid in it, because, you know, it's got the turbo 350 and the transfer case, the NP, I don't know, 205 or whatever they're called. I'm not really good with that stuff, but it's got all the parts that I need for the K5. You know, the missing air dam and some other doodads and odds and ends that I'm going to need for that truck. Overall, it's not bad. There's a lot worse trucks around than this, and it is a 4x4 K10, and these square bodies are pretty hot right now, and it's got a tilt steering column and factory AC and things like that. So I know that runs. I'll be getting on that pretty soon, and I just want to know if, you know, whatever things off of this that I need can be used on that. All right, in closing, guys, after doing a little bit more review on that truck off camera, I have decided to probably not pursue this thing running and moving under its own power any further. It's just too far gone to do that with. I thought maybe it'd be a little bit fun to do that, but this is clearly a parts truck, and I know that the engine's not seized up. I know it can run. I think it's got a major valve train problem. Sounds like it's got a really stuck valve, or one of the rocker arms pulled out of the head and is getting twisted up and mangled. Whatever happens with these small block Chevys. But it's a 305, so it's really not even worth cracking the valve cover on, because it has unknown mileage too. The previous owner said he thought it had 250,000 miles on it at least, and maybe it does. It gave me a great opportunity to refresh some of my skills, so I'm going to yank that new starter off. I'm going to take all the new distributor parts out, probably take some of the parts just off the engine altogether, the HEI and everything. Probably will junk that engine. The transmission and transfer case, I may try to sell that to somebody of unknown function. And I think in the next video on that truck, I'm going to do one more. I'm just going to clean the truck up and kind of go through the interior and see what's there and see what parts I can apply to my K5 Blazer. Got a lot better base to start with anyway. If you like this video, slam me a thumbs up. Drop a comment down below about anything that you know that I don't. I am certainly no expert, and I am not a professional mechanic. Make sure you pound that notification bell for me so you'll know, after you subscribe, of course, when I release a new video. So, in the meantime, I really appreciate you guys watching. And I will definitely catch you on the flip side.
See you next time.
All right.
Tune in again.
Thanks for watching.
Yep.